This week on The Toni Thorne Show, Point Blank features Chantal Lane and her journey in the music industry, Pompasat features Reggae on the Beach, and Tea Time returns with Adrian Green, Janelle Mitchell, Ty Blue, and KB Sharp. I have the pleasure of sitting and chatting with Barbadian Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and recording artist Chantal Lane. Chantal, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure. You know you're my girl, so...
Long time, baby.
Long time.
So for those of us who are not close to you and who don't know your story, tell us who really is Chantal.
I mean, it's kind of... I guess I have a lot of different layers, but to simply put it, I'm just... You know, like a beach girl from Barbados, that's the truth. I just grew up, I love music. It just always was my passion. And I just always felt like there's going to be some way for me to figure out how to do this and do this like on a worldwide scale, you know. So that's just who I am. I'm just a very ambitious person, and I just love life, you know. I love people, and I really love music. So there was only one option for me, and that was to make my life about music, you know. Okay. So that's who I am in a nutshell. So give us a snapshot of how this beach girl, from being a beach girl to Grammy-nominated artist. Like I said, I grew up, you know, spending a lot of time on the beach, you know, surfing and just hanging out and whatnot. But at the same time, a lot of those people I was hanging out with, and also my school friends, we would just make music. But you know, yes, since, you know, when I was at school at Harrison College, people like myself and Damien Marvey, you know, like, and you know, we would just be in the music room, like Chris and all those guys from Next Six, you know what I mean? Like, we just made music because we couldn't help it.
I know that you're very honest. Yeah. And there's so many young people out there that want to be signed and want to pursue a career in music. I don't know anything about music. Yeah. The average person out there has not reached the level of success that you've gone through. So first question for you on that plane, is it still important to be signed?
Not as important nowadays at all, because the reason why it used to be very important to be signed is because naturally, if you know you're an up and coming or unknown artist, there's a lot, like launching anything, launching a company, a product, you know, an artist is the same thing, and you need capital, you need resources, you need a network, you need so much, and you don't have that when you first come into the game. You know, sometimes you may need direction. You may know you could sing, but you need somebody to help develop you. So all those things were the reasons why people would need to be, you know, get a record deal before, and also for distribution, because that's actually nowadays the more crucial role that a label plays, because they don't even really do artist development at labels anymore. Production companies do that now. You have to package the artists and bring them to the label, and the label has to already be excited about this new product, because that's what you are when you're a recording artist, you know. So but now artists don't need that as much for exposure, because you have all this social networking. The internet is like an artist, you know, the most epic tool that you have to work with, because you can directly reach your fans. You no longer have to wait until you can get into a radio station and hope that they interview you and hope they feature your music. You could just put it out. You can just say to 10 people, hey, here's my SoundCloud. You know, if you like it, they'll tell 10 other people. Yeah. So now you have more power inside, you know, your own power to spread virally, which has a lot of times more longevity, because then your fan base feels more attached to you. They feel connected, and they want to ride with you, and they want to play this role in making sure you get to the next level. So, you know, that's why artists don't need labels as much, because you can also sell your own music online alone. You don't need distribution really anymore. Maybe when you get huge, you know, and you want to print, say, like 1 million albums up front, you might not have that money, so the label is going to front you that, and they'll get all those copies done, but that's because they know that you're the artist that will sell that amount, you know. So in the beginning, maybe you need them more, but especially established artists now, it's kind of gone. There's been a shift in the paradigm where the artist has more power than the label nowadays, and it's almost like even signed artists now want to get out of their deals. It's a crazy phenomenon, because like you said at first, when you're aspiring to be a major artist, that is like the threshold that you first want to reach. You're like getting signed. That's step one. Yeah. You know. Now artists are like, even new artists are like, I don't even know if I want to get signed, because they now they you know, people they've been wizened to all the things that are involved in being signed, and they want more power, and they just don't want to deal with all of that stuff. So, you know.
2 words you said, the word ride and wizened. What are the difficulties that you have experienced on this ride?
I would say for me personally, the hardest parts are either like from the production level, when you might be fighting because you want to go in a certain direction, and then, you know, the powers that be have a different idea, or you know, you may have an idea of what your image is, and so you're like in a boardroom fighting with people about who you are. You know what I mean? In a nutshell, that it's kind of crazy. And then the other level of it is just natural competition. Like, you know, yes, I'm making this music because I enjoy it. It's my passion, is what I love, but this is my job. This is my living, and to be successful at it, it means that I have to perform on this level, which means it is automatically a competition. So the pressure of competition is very difficult, and that itself comes with a lot of peer pressure. You're looking at other artists thinking, do I have to be that, you know, to be on their level? Do I have to do these things? Do I have to say these things? Do I have to wear that? Do I have to be friends with these people? All these things. So that gets very difficult.
Is it easy to lose yourself?
Yeah, it is. It is easy to lose yourself. Again, it comes back to the pressure of, maybe especially when you first come in, you don't understand a lot, and you're learning as you go along, you know. So you're trying to look at different types of behavior or different methods of doing things, and you're trying to figure out, okay, is that for me? Like I said, you know, do I have to do that too? And you know, it could be really, really hard. It could be depressing too. Or, you know, the difficult thing is that once you do get that first hit, you are expected to continue. You gotta like keep that going. So and then people have a certain expectation of how that should happen, how fast that should happen, or you know, or they might be looking at the blueprint of another artist and making comparisons and saying, well, how come this person puts out an album every year or a single every 2 months, and you've not put out one in 3 years? And then, you know, but then you look at other artists, and every artist's journey is so different, and the way they function, the way they operate within the industry and stuff like that. So all those challenges come down to you figuring out exactly where you stand in the industry and the role that you play. And then I guess the other hard stuff is feeling like maybe you're disappointing your fans if you know, if you don't give them what they want, or you've been away for a long time, and then simple other basic things like the sacrifices that you have to make.
What have you've toured with persons like Beyonce, you've met persons like Snoop Dogg, Ciara, all these stars. Who is the person that you would say that you've interacted with that you really respect their work ethic and has really had an influence on how you are in that and in your industry?
I've toured with, you know, so many huge artists like Lady Gaga, T-Pain, Akon, you know, like you said, B, just to name a few, you know what I mean? And sometimes you will be backstage and maybe just see the artist in passing or whatever, or you might be on a radio show with like mad, like, I don't know if you know, like Summer Jams and like Jingle Ball and stuff, and you're on a show with like T.I., Beyonce, Jay-Z, like Nicki Minaj, like all these huge artists, and you may never get to meet any of them. So to be honest, being on tour with B, I was shocked because she actually requested for me to come to her dressing room to meet her, and I was like, okay, you're officially cool. But then, you know, talking to her, she was really nice, really supportive, and I wouldn't even think she's paying attention. I'm thinking when I'm on stage, you're getting dressed to come on after me. So, you know, she said so many nice things, like she complimented my voice and my performance, and I was like, I didn't even know you saw any of it. And she was like, you can't get on my tour, you know, if I don't already think that you're. So that blew my mind away, and I was like, thank you for telling me that, because sometimes you can doubt yourself, and hearing something like that from someone like you you know, really gives you that motivation to just never give up or just keep going.
You have spoken about all the love that you receive, and that's really good.
Yeah.
But if we're real, you always have hate.
Yeah.
And where is Olivia Pope when you need her situations? Tell me a little bit about those.
Oh man, there's definitely, like you said, those situations where like you need damage control, or you know, or someone or something is just coming at you really hard and you don't understand why, or you might know why, but you got to try to deal with it. Either personally, you have to, you know, if somebody's sipping on the haterade, there's nothing you could do except accept the fact that if you were not accomplishing something, there wouldn't be anyone giving a to be quite honest in the first place. So in some ways that is a form of flattery. When there are people against you or pushing against you, it means that you are moving. Is the laws of physics, you know, with every action there's a reaction, there's a force. If it goes left, there's a force pushing it the other way. So it applies across the board to me.
A few years ago, you made a comment, and Beijing just blew it out of proportion.
Yeah.
And I've watched interviews over the years of you, Shanta, and I don't think anybody has given you the opportunity to address that. So, address it.
Are you talking about that time a long time ago when in an interview, I think someone was asking me about you know, about Barbados and how does it feel
to come from Barbados.
Yeah, to come from Barbados. And I think it was like mentioned that Barbados, you know, like coming from a third world country or something. And I guess Bajans expected, it seemed as though they expected me to correct the person or whatever, but I just answered the question in terms of, you know, this third world country. And apparently a lot of people got really, really angry, and they were like, how she could be bought the place saying that Barbados is a third world country? She's supposed, and I was like, do you understand the definition of third? Saying a place is a third world country just means it's not America and it's not Europe. It's not a developed country. It's not first world. That doesn't mean that you're trash. It doesn't mean you're the backwoods. It doesn't mean you don't have any level of development. Because what they didn't hear in that interview was that I also said that for a third world country, Barbados is quite epic. For a country that has only so many people and that is only so small. I write the song about it. Colors, in case y'all forgot. There's nobody that waves Barbados flag higher and more proudly than I do. Don't forget that. So me saying that was my way of saying, look, that may be how you view this country, but this is how epic we are. This is what we have. A lot of Bajans do not know. We invent the black belly sheep. We invent a grapefruit. They don't know that. There's so much that Bajans deserve credit for that we do not get, because we are busy talking about other things instead of promoting what is good about Barbados. And people like to focus on what they can take negative from what you have said than the good things. So I'm doing an interview bigging up Barbados, and what some Bajans heard, all they heard was Barbados is a third world country, which, by the way, if you did any study geography and let's teaching as social studies, it doesn't mean that we ain't nothing. It means that that's why we are amazing, because we can't do so much things that these big companies with all this money could do, but yet we got Rupi, and yet we got Edwin, and we got Allison, and we got all the cricketers, and we got Oba. And I could keep going on, you know what I'm saying? We got we got everybody, we got Livy Frank out there writing like amazing songs for all kinds of people, and y'all don't know that because y'all are busy worrying about negative things. We don't need to be doing that, Barbados. Like, come on now. We need to be like getting behind each other more. Like, how, if I say this, I can get in trouble, I know. But like in Trinidad and Jamaica, get more behind your people instead of trying to pick at things all the time. We love Barbados, and all we are trying to do is take Barbados as far as possible. And I don't think that there's a limit. I don't think there's any place that we cannot go.
What do you think our community can do to be able to better facilitate those dreams?
Just be more supportive. That's the root of it. That's the honest truth. The root of it is we should be our biggest cheerleaders. I really think, obviously, the artists themselves, the community, you know, the artistic community, they want all of these things, but I don't think we understand how we pull each other down sometimes, you know, because every time one artist decides to make a certain stride or do something, all the others are often sitting there judging or whatever, instead of, like I said, instead of rallying behind or around the person. I think artists will survive more when the spirit of entrepreneurship is supported more and encouraged, because that is the fundamental basis of being in music, because you are your business. That's what being an entrepreneur is. You are a brand that you now have to go and build and market and promote, just like if Nike come up with a new shoe. And nobody can accomplish your vision other than you, because it's your vision. Nobody can see it but you. So if you go and listen to people like Richard Branson, they'll all say exactly the same thing. I had a vision. People thought I was nuts, but I still went and did it anyway, and now I'm me. You know? So I think that individually, like you said, every artist has to embrace that. Don't be scared. Just go for it. You know, try to be strategic and smart, but just go for it. And then as a group collectively, you know, we need to be supporting each other and trying to come up with ways to put each other, give each other more, I guess the word is exposure, or just shine a light, you know?
And I really want to thank you, and I'm sure that there's at least one person out there that wants to pursue a career like yours, and you've answered so many questions that they're better able to have the knowledge to be able to pursue and actualize their dreams.
I support you as well. I've known you, you know, like you said, we grew up together, but I don't just support people because I know them or because there's my friend or family. I have to genuinely think that you have something special. And ask anybody that knows me here, when I say Toni Thorne, ask them what comes out of my mouth. So I am very proud of you.
I'm very proud of you. Thank you.
All right.
The Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. This is where you belong. Over the years, we've cared for you to help you meet your needs. Trustworthy, dependable, so you can grow financially. The Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. Excellent service, all values strong. Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union. This is where you belong.
Motion CPR Treatment Conditioner. Ideal for breakage-prone hair, this deep moisturizing treatment instantly strengthens and repairs the hair shaft. Motion CPR Treatment Conditioner will help to restore hair's health and vibrancy with one application. Deeply nourishes the hair with a blend of natural African herbs. For more fabulous product information, visit www.motionshair.com or Bryden Stokes.
This is DJ Puffy from Slam 101. We are at the Digital Reggae Beach Party, and you're watching the Toni Thorne Show.
Last week, I went to Reggae on the Beach by Fast Entertainment and had an absolute blast with performances by Movado, Popcorn, Ching Ching, and so much more.
I swear me no know if you do, that's why me say, give me Caribbean girl. Wine me Caribbean girl, you're worth more than a billion, one in a million. Give me Caribbean girl, give me Caribbean girl, love me Caribbean girl.
Hey, me say man, the unruly boss. This ain't no other. I'm representing for the Toni Thorne Show, though. Way up and stay up. Kiko.
Wired's flavor of the week is vanilla. It is creamy, delicious, and possibly the best ice cream you will ever have. Distributed by Bryden Stokes Island-wide. All outfits for the Toni Thorne Show are provided by none other than Kay Shepherd.
People all over far are savoring the aromatic goodness of the country's favorite tea. Lipton is your brighter day in every cup. Enjoy the rich, uplifting taste and aroma. Perfect anytime, any place. Lipton Yellow Label. Get the feeling anytime, anywhere. And try our new green tea with superfruit.
Welcome to the Lipton sponsored Tea Time segment, and I'm joined here by 4 wonderful persons. We have Ty Blue, who is the signed artist and performer. Thank you so much for joining me, Ty.
Thank you for having me.
Next to her, we have Mr. KB, Barbadian producer.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony.
Anytime, my pleasure. Janelle Mitchell, arts entrepreneur and fresh off of Bank on Me contestant. Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you, Tony.
And last but certainly not least, Mr. Adrian Green, beat talker, international man of leisure, and spoken word artist. Thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Okay, our first question. Do you think that we as Barbadians have a cultural identity?
I don't, because Bajans are very, not ashamed, but still at the same time not very proud of their own unless you go overseas first, accomplish something over there like Rihanna for example, and then come back and then you're treated like royalty, rather than everybody just coming together and supporting one another to build an identity and try to push local talent, not only artists but anything that comes from Barbados. Because we're so small, I think we should focus more on trying to push ourselves rather than having international artists coming here. We don't even know.
Yeah, I think probably where we might fall down is the marketing. I think we have things, but the way we put it out there, I think a lot of it hasn't been packaged yet. So it's there, but like you don't see it clearly. You know, it's just how it needs to be marketed. And I fully understand why Tyra would answer the way she answered, because you being like a whole generation under me. Like, I had to look for culture. I had to find it. Like, Ishaka McNeil is who told me about Jackie Opal when I was 18. I didn't learn about that in school. You get what I mean? So you kind of got to hunt for it. It's not marketed. It's not packaged. You don't just get it.
For me, I would say, yes, our culture is the fact that we always say that we don't have a culture. Right?
Boom!
Right? So it depends on how you see yourself. Because we always wait for somebody else to come and tell us, oh yes, I love this about your culture. And we will say, oh yeah, well, I really like it too. We always wait for some type of validation from other people before we look within ourselves, right?
Yeah, we have a culture, but we do our best to hide it. We try to hide it because we are ashamed of it in many aspects.
How so?
You know, we live in a post-colonial culture. We live in a post-slavery culture. We are a people who historically have been looked down upon and have been misrepresented in the media and still are represented in the media as less than, you know. And oftentimes we see ourselves through the lens of the people who see us as less than. And we want to attain what they have. And we feel in order to get what they have, we have to shed aspects of ourselves that make us stand out from them. So
give me an example.
So for instance, if I want to get up to where they are, whoever they may be, I got to talk like them. We need to adopt their culture in order to fit in with them so we can get where they are. And there's some truth in that, you know, because people protect their own. Human beings generally are clannish, and if you want to get into the in-group, sometimes you got to be like the in-group. That is if the in-group is open to letting you in. What we don't realize is that, you know, oftentimes the groups we want to get into are not that willing to let us in.
All of us here sitting, we're in the cultural industries and in different aspects of it. And I wanted to ask you, what difficulties do you experience as you go through your day-to-day operations of being a cultural practitioner? Tyra first.
So before I was signed to Evan Rogers from SRP, there was, and there still is, like a limit of opportunities and support in Barbados. Seeing that most of the nightclubs and the spots in the Gap have shut down, there isn't really much of a platform to perform on. Yes, there are these big festivals and stuff like that, but when these people look for artists to perform, they look for people who are already established, like Next6 and the typical Everblaze and these people that are already out there. But people like myself that don't really have a name yet in Barbados, you know, it's hard to come about these opportunities. So before I was signed by Evan Rogers, no one really took me seriously. But now they hear, ooh, signed by Evan Rogers, ooh, same guy that discovered Rihanna, ooh, whoa, and then they take me seriously. So it comes with like, it's a good thing to be signed because it makes people take you more serious. It makes people want to work with you just because they want to be associated to that brand. When it comes to the creative arts, we all know that people see it as little to nothing. If they aren't really heavily invested in it. It goes back to the same culture. Creativity, culture, some people don't think that it exists. I would say initially, when I started out in theater arts, for me, nobody believed, why would you want to go and get into theater arts? It doesn't make money. People in Barbados, if they don't see, if your passion does not equate to the dollars that they want to see, then it's not anything that you should be doing.
If it don't make money, I guess it don't make sense.
And I think that that is one of the things that we hit up hard against as creative artists, because we are so heavily invested in what we want to do, our passion. And because you don't see our vision and it doesn't equate to that same money value that you have, then people don't want to hear it, people don't want to see it, so therefore nobody believes in it.
But I think it goes back to the first question and the way we see ourselves as Barbadians and our cultural identity. I think that's a big issue. So from the time an artist from Barbados comes out, already they have the burden of being a Barbadian artist and the burden and the baggage that comes with that. So the feeling that anything Barbadian is less than or inferior, and because there's not that pride in self, that strong need to identify with what is yours and what is ours, you know, we have less urge to go and support the Barbadian film, to go check it out and give it a chance. Unfortunately, that same mindset is in the artists themselves. We as artists oftentimes have the same, afflicted with the same lack of confidence in self that the wider public has. So when we make our art, oftentimes we are not thinking about how can we make art for the market that is most accessible for us. And I know a lot of people criticize that. They say, boy, when you make music, don't make music for Barbados, make music for the world. And that's good advice. And many Barbadian artists overlook the market that they have access to. They don't try to service Barbados. And then they get upset when the Bajan public don't check for them. But when you're making your art, you aren't checking for the Bajan public. So that identity issue is a real problem.
I'm very sure that you sparked some level of discussion, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's in the office tomorrow, whether it's amongst cultural practitioners as well. And I really want to ask God to bless you. And thanks so much. Don't be strangers to the show. And thank you so much for watching. And this was Tea Time of the Toni Thorne Show. God bless you. Leading them from behind, we have Mr. Adrian Green.
From behind? What do you mean by that?
Exactly. I just... This morning I have the pleasure of chatting with Barbadian Grammy-nominated singer-songer and performing singer-songer. What the hell going on?
Sipping on that haterade. Ooh, I think it's sweet.
Let me answer over again.
Yes.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Haterade comes bottled now. You didn't know that?